So, what is emptiness? When a Zen master meets a new student, there is always a tea ceremony. And tea is poured into the student's small handheld cup until he or she gives a small gesture to indicate that the cup is full. Enough. Thank you. A long time ago, there was a Zen master to whom came a student that was very mindful, accomplished, and very self-certain, a monk who arrived at the temple for training. The master poured tea, and the young monk gestured and gestured to stop pouring, but the master kept on pouring tea until, of course, it overflowed. Now, why would the master do such a thing as this? He explained. When you arrived, your cup was already so full, there was no room for anything new. I ask you to do one thing. Empty your cup. Empty your cup. Empty your cup. The empty cup becomes a very powerful metaphor for personal practice. The cup represents your heart, your senses, your mind, or your consciousness, however you want to hold it. At every moment, the holy life itself wants to pour itself into you, into your cup. And when your cup is so full of your ideas, your schedules, your plans, your ideals, your judgments, there is so much less room to receive the holy, to receive the unexpected, seeing light or the gifts that the moment is actually trying to offer you. It becomes a living practice to consciously empty your cup again and again and again. The cup fills up easily in the Western world. We want to fill it with all sorts of things, and we want to fill it with the tea that we most like or prefer. And so it takes a fierce kind of courage to choose love over being right or comfortable. And it takes a commitment and courage to be empty, to be open and receptive. It takes real courage to hold out your empty cup, to receive something new and unexpected, including what seems in the ego mind to be the dark and not so sweet side of the mystery of life. So what exactly is in the 13 Moon Mystery School what we call empty presence? The most seminal skill in accessing Source, the divine feminine, is practicing the art of what we call empty presence. But what is that really? In words, it can be said to be a mind without thoughts, or thoughts to clutter it, or a spaciousness is more like what it feels like, a great spaciousness, a sense of profound resting in non-doing. And in a culture that does everything it possibly can to distract us from embodying that kind of awareness in consciousness, it is truly a skill that must be consciously cultivated. The ability to actually be in empty presence is the foundation for all spiritual work, whatever system or tradition. But what is it in direct experience? There are not words that can really actually express what is going on in it. You have to have a direct experience. As with everything in the female mysteries, a direct experience is what will actualize the wisdom of such a thing. Empty presence asks you to recognize the state of consciousness and be able to actually demonstrate it in your behavior and to maintain it in your work. To do this work of empty presence, I ask you, first of all, and most importantly, to set aside some sacred ceremonial time that absolutely will not be disturbed or you will be distracted in with your telephone or your text or your phone ringing or interruptions by other persons. This process of getting into alignment with empty presence can take from 15 minutes to several hours, depending on your ability to actually be able to be focused and surrendered at the same time, and to hold a potent, clear focus. It's difficult to do this, but as you begin practicing this, you'll see that you can remain both surrendered and in a potent focus. To begin, have ready a mirror that you can set 2 to 4 feet away from you so you can really gaze deeply into your own eyes. Look deeply into your own eyes as if you were looking into the eyes of the beloved or the Divine Mother or someone that you trust and adore. As you hold this potent focus, you begin to relax your vision. Let it go blurry or out of focus. You can even cross your eyes or look at the end of your nose, whatever you need to do to let your ordinary 3D focus loose for a while. You know, this can be very uncomfortable for the ego mind, and it may try to do everything it can to distract you and say things like, oh, this is ridiculous. Here you are sitting, staring in your own eyes. I mean, hello. But what you have to do is just lovingly embrace the ego mind and say, thank you. Please, just relax. I love you. And however many times you need to say this for the ego to actually stop talking to you about it, keep saying it over and over until the mind relaxes as you look into your eyes. And at some moment when the ego mind finally lets go of all of its habituated and regularly held perceptual grids, you will begin to see that your image begins to go a kind of fuzzy and diffused. And as you further and further relax and stay in focus, as you do focusing on your own eyes, you'll begin to perceive that the face will begin to have strongly etched shadow and light patterns, particularly around one side of your head or the other. You'll begin to notice that first. And then potentially that light frame will go all the way around your entire body, but don't look for any effects. This is where the ego mind says, oh, I see it, I see it. And then the minute you say that, you don't see it. If you do lose your focus like that, looking for effects, you will definitely not be able to see the light. It will disappear, which is a lesson in its own self. At some point in that journey, though, you will, without effort, simply cease to have any thoughts, entering fully into a state that I'll call pure awareness. You can easily tell that you're in that pure awareness because you will begin to feel lighter, oftentimes cooler, or definitely more expanded. And you'll begin to see that your face will go out of focus and begin to shape-shift into a bird or an old man. Just allow this like a movie going by without trying to grasp what it means. And then without expecting anything, in complete surrender, nothing at all happening, the more expanded aspect of your awareness may begin to slowly offer you an image or a sound or a color or just a pure experience of awareness itself. The important instruction here is, though, please don't try to make up anything with your mind that you're seeing any certain thing. Just be empty. Just be in empty presence and let that awareness rise directly up from your belly and from your heart. And if the image is actually coming from pure awareness, it will have what I call the ring of truth, and not be something that you've heard or seen or thought before. And when you can no longer hold the gaze of your own eyes, your eye muscles will oftentimes get sore at first in this practice of open-eyed meditation or empty presence. Thank your witness or your essential self, whatever you want to call that part of self, your soul voice, which is what you have contacted in empty presence. And to know that you can contact this place that has immense wisdom and guidance for you at any time that you wish to, just by looking in the mirror. And then finally, without it, by feeling the peace and expansion that it creates, that you can come back to and know that you are there. Through that feeling and those feelings, you will also begin to see a total golden chatoyance when you've done this over time. A golden, sparkly field that you are a part of, that there's foreground and background, but it's all merged into one. The whole process may take several attempts to really have a direct aha kind of experience where you see that golden light and your embeddedness in it. But over time, in your consciousness, you will begin to move through the weave of your ordinary perceptual awareness and see through to the greater reality. So don't worry if you don't have this experience or any of the things I've described here the first time. Please keep working on this skill of empty presence or open-eyed meditation, because it's essential as a skill on this path of the mystery of the divine feminine.